the one presenter.
And the show is yours, Michael.
Okay, thank you. Well, thank you everybody for joining today. This is Driving Business Agility through Ops MVS and CA Automation Point Integrations. So the focus of today's webcast is going to be talking about how those two products can work together and the benefits that you can get out of that. Let me jump to the agenda here. So the first kind of piece we're going to talk about is what are the two products, just at a high level. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, just so you kind of understand what they are. And then we'll go into the communication infrastructure, so how the two of them can, and how that integration piece works, so that the technical pieces of what the two of them can do with each other. And then we'll go through kind of the nuts and bolts of this meeting, which is the use cases. These are the things that we see that you can really drive your business forward with having these two products work together. And then some additional information that you can get access to about the product, different products here. Okay, so this is kind of our mission as a CA mainframe development organization, and what we're trying to drive towards with all of our products. Both Ops MVS and Automation Point really fall into three of these pillars, which is the skills management, the mainframe economics, and the business agility. Obviously, with business agility, which has the continuous availability monitoring and alerting, that is the main focus of both of these products. They are both automation products, so they are really driving towards that continuous availability monitoring and alerting. And they can also very much help out with the skills management and mainframe economics of the mainframe. Just the level set there is the high level. The personas, this is something that we drive towards with our agile development is we like to understand who is using the products, why they're using them, and kind of geared towards all of our development towards what they are. So these are kind of the main personas for this integration piece. So on the right-hand side, you have Andy, Anders, and Marlena. They are our automation team. So that they would be the chief users and the people trying to identify these integrations, the automation opportunities, getting them developed and getting them rolled out to customers, being the advocates, all that fun stuff that goes with being part of the automation team. So the left-hand side are kind of well, there's a lot of personas that automation kind of goes out to, but these are kind of the two main ones we would look at in this kind of setup here. We have the system engineer and the support analyst. So that would be the support analyst. Sheila is your level 1, level 2, your console operators, those kind of people that are in the day-to-day trenches, understanding what's going on with the system, solving problems, and looking to have automation support their job to make it easier for them so they don't have to dig into every little tiny thing, and to allow those problems to be fixed through automation. And Sherman would be your system engineer, your ZOS programmer, your KICS engineer, your DB2. These are people that are installing your products, configuring things for applications, getting them up and running. And he's kind of looking for the same thing. When there's a problem with his application, can automation supply him information better? Can they solve the problem so it doesn't get escalated to him? That kind of thing. So those are kind of the main personas that we are interested in this kind of integration. There are some others, but these would be the main ones. Okay. So now we get down to the product level here. Ops MVS is a mainframe automation product. It is used for solving all your system level problems, getting tasks up and running, shutting them down, replying to messages on your system. Does this through all kinds of different interfaces that it has, allowing for synchronous automation and asynchronous automation. And primarily uses OpsRex as its compiling in source code. Automation Point is very similar to Ops MVS, except for it runs on a Windows environment, and it's used to kind of bridge the gap between your mainframe automation and your distributed automation. So it also runs a Rex programming language, so that if you're familiar with coding Rex for Ops MVS, it will be a very easy, seamless transition over to Automation Point in terms of coding your Rex environment. It also allows you to connect to a lot of different environments. So you can connect to your HMC, you can connect to a Linux box, Unix box, a Windows box, and a whole bunch of other technologies. This allows you to kind of bridge between your mainframe and your distributed environment. It also has a very robust notification manager, so if you want to send emails, if you want to page people, if you want to make phone calls, if you want to do escalations, all that is built into Automation Point, and there's direct interfaces between Ops and AP to do that work. So they are really companion products. They work very well together, and we'll kind of get into the details as we go here. All right. I do have a question in here. Maybe. Okay. I will. Rick, I do see your question here. I'm going to get to that as we kind of get a little further down, so I will answer that. If not, I will make sure I get it answered as I go through. Okay. So the next piece here is the communication infrastructure. So we kind of got the high-level overview of the two products and kind of where they fit into the scheme of what CA is doing on the mainframe. So now we're going to drive down a little further down into how do these products actually work together? What functionality is available to be exploited so that you can use this integration piece? Okay. So from a communication method, there's two primary methods that you could use to talk between two products. So an Automation Point has the ability to have mainframe consoles defined to it so that it can go through and scrape off all the messages on there and run them through a rules engine, very similar to Ops MVS's AOF processing. So it will pull a message off the console, and it can take an action off of it, either straight from the rules or from a Rex program. So if you want to have a communication from Ops down to AP, you just simply write a message out to the console, and it will show up on AP. AP can take an action off of it and do some work. That is probably the simplest way to kind of get that communication path going, and it also doesn't require any other technology like IP or a email server or anything like that. It's straight to the console. As long as the system's up, the console's going to be there, and AP will be able to get the message and react to it. The other way that you have the ability to talk to it is you can set up an MSF link between the two products. This is completely identical to how Ops has MSF links between all of its Ops instances. The MSF link is going to be using the Common Service Component CCI. So that uses an IP connection down to the AP machine, and there is a CCI running on the AP machine that allows for AP to act just like any other MSF link in Ops itself. So if you go into your Ops link, Ops MSF list, you're going to see an AP system set up in there. It does have a special type called AP, so that Ops knows that it is an AP link. And that allows for a two-way communication between the products through this MSF link. And on the next slides, I will show you what you can do through the MSF links. Okay, so from the AP side, so if you're coding in AP, the things that you can send up to the mainframe through the MSF link are these 5 items here. So you can go through and you can list all the available Ops sessions or the AP sessions for that matter, if you have multiple APs listed there. And that will give you information on where you can send stuff, where you can retrieve information. There is an option which will allow you to send commands up to the mainframe and get response back, just like any other ZOPS command. It's identical to the address opper in ops. You issue a command, goes to the console, you get the information back, and you can pull off what you need and take action based on it. There is an OSF TSO. This allows you to send commands up to an ops OSF server. So from there, you can do things like issue a TSO command. You can start ops rex programs. You can start TSO erex programs. So anything that you can do through an ops OSF server, you can do through this command processing in AP. So AP basically taps ops on the shoulder and says, hey, go do this for me. And ops will do that. And that obviously is an asynchronous process, so you may or may not get results back from that. The VERD is going to tell you what version of ops you're running in case that is of interest in what you're sending up there. And then WTO is the last piece, and this is basically sending a WTO up to the mainframe through ops. It's going to end up and allow you end up in the syslog, the ops log, and run through AOF, and you can trigger automation that way also. So that's it. Basically, with these functionalities through automation point, you can have a full functional communication between from AP up to ops. Anything ops can do, a automation point can trigger up to there. Let's see, Keith, your question about servers. I do believe at this point you can only send it directly to the primary TSO servers. I know that a couple of ops or AP developers are on the line with me today. If I'm wrong about that, please correct me. But I don't believe you can send to the log running or priority servers at this point. Okay. So now from the other direction. So now what can ops do in AP? So if you are looking at so from ops to AP. Sorry, I was reading a question. There is a command called nm-find that you can send down through the MSF link. So nm is the notification manager piece of AP. So this allows you to send emails or page somebody or dial out a phone if you've got that set up in AP. All those communication paths. There's escalations and all that stuff built into this notification manager. So what this nm-find allows you to do is from an ops rule, you can address your AP server. You can say nm-find, tell it what contact that you want to contact, and give it the message that you want to send, and it's going to send that down to AP. AP will go through his notification manager procedures to make sure that guy's contacted. Let's see. The PPQ write, this is short for program queue, and this allows you to basically send large volumes of data between ops and AP, and it's going to put it on a queue, and then AP needs to go check its queues and pull it off and get it there. So it's kind of a rudimentary like MQ type processing. You put it on the queue, AP grabs it and pulls it off whenever it's ready to process the information. Let's see, Rex programs. So just like automation point can trigger ops to run Rex programs, ops can trigger automation point to run one of its Rex programs. So whenever you do it this way, these Rex programs are going to run on the AP server and perform functionality that AP is able to do with those servers. And the WTO is the same thing. This is going to send a message down to AP and allow AP to run it through its rules engine and process information there for you. So like I said, this gives a full two-way communication path. It is very much a toolkit, so it allows you to kind of take that information and expand it beyond just sending a REX program down. Okay, I can trigger the REX program, but what can I do with the REX program is kind of the next step here that we're looking at. Okay, so now we're going to look at kind of the use cases for this integration. These are things that we've heard from customers. These are things that we've kind of built up over the years that we know are integration points.
Michael, I just sent you a question that was sent to me privately, just so you know.
Okay. Yeah, I just noticed my screen blinking, so that's why I got distracted. Let's see. So there was a question here sent in from Daryl. So it was a specific ops message. How would capture this message for email alerts? Okay, so this was a specific ops 3092H. And the question is, how would they capture this message for an email alert? Well, there'd be two different ways that you could do this. If you want to strictly do it from the AP side, you would set up an AP message in its rules file to trap on this ops 3092H off the console, so you get it off the console. If you're looking for this specific message, you can also check the message text to make sure that these specific words are in there. And then there is an NM find option that is available directly from the AP rules file. You would have to set up the contact information on who you wanted to send this email to in Notification Manager. But once that is completed, you would just do that NM find directly from that rule, and it would supply the contact information, and it would send that email off to the person that you wanted to. If you want to do it from the ops side, it's almost the exact same process. In an ops rule, you would just have this message coded up through a message rule, and then you would address your AP server and do an NM find with the same information and send that off, and it would then log it and send it to that person. Okay, get back to chat window here. Oops, hold on, I'm having issues with my screen. There you go. Okay. Okay, so Daryl, I hope that answered your question there for you. If not, we can kind of take that offline and kind of go into a little more detailed description of how to do that. Okay. So the first use case that we have is for actually monitoring ops MVS itself. So one of the issues that we always hear from customers, I don't know if it's not a major issue, but it is one of these things. Ops MVS is responsible for keeping everything up in the system. When something comes down, it brings it back up. It's monitoring, it's making sure things are going. But who's monitoring the monitor? If ops dies, how do you know? Where do you get that automated restart for your automation product? So that could be an issue, especially if you're heavily automated in your systems. If your monitor goes down and all your operations staff is doing is waiting for Ops MVS to tell us there's a problem it couldn't solve, well, if Ops isn't there, they're not going to tell them there's any problems, so they may not look for anything at that point. So how do you monitor the monitor is one of the main things. So what you can do with Automation Point is if you have the console set up, you can create rules for the emergency product shutdown message for ops or an admin message and queue in on your ops address space and say, okay, if I see these messages and it's not an IPL, then I need to automatically restart ops, and oh, by the way, I'm going to use my notification manager to also notify somebody that there was an issue with ops and it's starting right back up. So this allows you to get that automatic restart of ops MVS as if it was defined SSM for you, so that you're not missing automation pieces whenever there is failures of ops. Okay, so like I said, the bottom line for this is this allows you to avoid some problems, quickly remediate some issues, and get your mean time to resolution down because of automation failures. That's not something that happens often, but it is something that could be prolonged because it just doesn't happen often. Okay, so the next piece that we have is alert notification and centralization. So there are plenty of cases where customers are taking your entire enterprise and putting all their alerts in one place, but there are also still plenty of cases where customers are still segregating their mainframe alerts from their other alerts. Well, when you segregate off your mainframe alerts, you need a centralized place to put them. Since Automation Point has this notification manager and has got access to Ops MVS, which is generally doing a lot of your alerting off the mainframe, one of the things that we see is they filter down all of their mainframe alerts down through Automation Point and use that as kind of the centralizing point to either display them there through a component in Automation Point. We've got merge message windows. We've got a couple web interfaces that allow you to see the alerts coming through. Possibly even use Automation Point to forward it on to whatever your enterprise manager is, so that you only have to worry about that one connection to an enterprise manager. But also, since it has a notification manager, it can do all your notifications from there. And then you only have that one centralized place where you have to update all of your notification pieces whenever they change, and they're going to change, would be my guess. It's just how that works. This is, I guess this is a good place for me to kind of go back to Rick's question here, where he's talking about, his question is, today we use emails as a primary integration from other system management tools outside the mainframe. What other alternatives are available? For example, can we easily send SNMP traps to another system? Yes, Automation Point has the ability to send SNMP traps, and there's also a web services piece available through Automation Point, so it can send and receive web services. So if your system management tool will take either of those, you can filter down through AP and have those sent off as a way to do that rather than an email. I think those are the two main ways that product is that it would be built in. Obviously, with the Rex environment, if you want to write some TCP/IP sockets, you can do that, but it's not a configured piece of the product. It's just something you would be able to do because you have the Rex environment available to you. Let's see. So that's our centralized alerting, and because of the integration piece with the NM find, this is kind of an easy integration. All you have to do is go through and have your rules do an NM find, you tell it what you want, and then as the contacts change or how they're notified changes, it's just they change right in Automation Point rather than going through and changing all the automation rules itself. And one of the things about Notification Manager, it also allows for setting things like escalations or changing your hours. So during this hour, I want to be phoned. During this hour, I want to be emailed. During this hour, I'm always at my desk. So just send me an email kind of thing. And it gives a a good full-scale notification process along with centralizing all the maintenance and viewing of the alerts. Okay. So, the next piece here is the multi-platform automation. So this is kind of really one of the major use cases for using Automation Point. So in today's environment, almost nothing lives just in one place. An application that you have is going to touch the mainframe. It's going to touch Unix, the Linux environment, the Windows environment. If nothing else, you've got web front ends sitting out on a distributed platform, an application server, and your mainframe is probably your record of source. So these applications need to go across all of these platforms, and the automation really needs to be able to tie this piece together, because if the application server goes down, you may have to make changes on the mainframe in order for that application to continue to run. So it's very important for your automation to be able to bridge this gap across the board. And this is where Automation Point comes into play here. So one of the main features of Automation Point is it allows you to process commands across multiple platforms. So you can set up so that it knows what's going on a Linux, Unix, Windows environment, or you can just have it log in and issue commands and log out because you don't want to stay monitoring it. All you needed was to just send some information over there. So let's say your mainframe CICS region goes down, so you need to bring up a secondary one, but you need to tell the application server to look at the new CICS region. Maybe something be able to be done through the application itself, but let's say you don't have that set up and you need to do this. So Ops MVS sees the CICS region come down, tells AP that, hey, I need you to go tell this application server that the CICS region is down. So Automation Point can log into that Linux box and issue commands to the application and receive data back and make sure that the application is healthy and back up and running with before signaling ops to kind of take its remediation. Allows for that end-to-end automation piece. So this is really limited by what you guys need on your businesses, because AAP can log into just about any application out there and issue commands, receive data. So it's really limited by what requirements do you have for this kind of information going back and forth to the mainframe. And of course, it works the other direction too, since AP can be monitoring these distributed servers. It can see something going on the distributed boxes and send that information up to the mainframe or take action on the mainframe because it's connected to both environments. And it's so it allows for that two-way communication between multiple environments and to take action on them. And of course, this can always be combined with the alerting processes that I was just talking about. And now you've not only got a multi-platform automation, but you also have a robust alerting built into that process and enables you to kind of get both ends of the spectrum of either automatically fixing it or notifying people that there are issues. And as part of this, you may be able to correlate events together. If you're sending out your notification for both the Unix and the mainframe going through Automation Point, you may be able to determine that these two are actually the same problem and only send out one of them, so you're kind of reducing your alert cases also. All right. So the next piece here, the next two use cases tie in together. They are distinctly different use cases. So Automation Point can connect to your HMC and give you your monitoring capabilities for the HMC. It's going to grab all the messages on the HMC console, and it's going to run those through its rules engine also. So if you're seeing hardware errors or something like that on your HMC, you can still do your notifications through Automation Point, or you can take corrective action. Because it also allows you to issue commands to the HMC and set or view configuration items. So this use case is looking at the ability to change these configuration items. You may have the need at a certain time of day. If you've got to close the business going at 5 and you're going to be late on your close of business, maybe you want to give that mainframe some extra CPU power to get through and get it closed on time. MVS can trigger Automation Point to make that change for you. Can go in and say, okay, I want to add an extra CPU to the system for this hour, and then set a timer to reset it back at 5 p.m. Or if you need to change the weights to your system, you are able to do that and get those configuration changes set through to help you get your business run through faster. It's also able to kind of go out to multiple sources, gather some information, and determine, hey, is this the correct action to do? Maybe the correct action is really to shut down all your test batch rather than adding CPU. But because it's touching all these points, the distributed, the mainframe, multiple mainframes, it can kind of correlate this information together and determine whether you need to make these HSM changes or not, HMC changes. The other thing that AP does allow you to do is create command rules, just like Automation Point. So you could go through and make a simplified command to allow your operations staff to make some of these changes without it having to go over to the HMC and understand all the different clicks and buttons that you need to do to get a change completed. And also, because it is a coded command rule, it's going to do the same thing over and over again, as opposed to, oh, I clicked the wrong thing on the screen, and now I just took my production system from 10 CPs down to 2, and we're going to have some issues. Whereas the command rule or a timed rule through Automation Point is always going to do the same thing over and over again. So it reduces the possibility of manual errors or issues that way. Okay. All right. So the next one here is just taking that HMC work and expanding it out to allowing you to fully automate your IPLs. So MVS has the ability to start and stop everything through System State Manager. And it can take care of a lot of the other work that needs to get done around an IPL, for like starting initiators, stopping them, that kind of work. But there's always the extra pieces of loading and loading your LPAR, and also all the NIT messages that come out. And also, if you have any hardware errors, you're not going to come up, and it requires somebody to kind of watch that and understand what's going on. So by integrating Automation Point into this process, it allows you to kind of fill that gap in. So it can handle all of your HMC commands that need to get done. It can handle the NIT messages and replying to them, because its console can be defined as the NIT message, and it can see all those messages come up and automate it through its rules engine. And if there are any hardware issues, it can either get those and notify somebody if there's a problem so they can go look for them, or if you know what the fix is, it can automatically fix them also, and allow you to get through your automated process a lot quicker than what it does to take a manual process. So by having these two kind of tied together, it actually gets you to that one-button IPL process. You can go into MVS and say, okay, recycle this LPAR, and then walk away, and allow it to go through and do all of its shutdown processes and know that if there's any issues, there's built-in notification in there that it can send you these notification pieces and let you know that there are things that you need to do to fix this IPL. We actually do ship an update to our ShutSys process in SSM that has this communication built in between ops and automation point to allow you to build out this IPL process and get this all working for you. It allows for rolling IPL, so you can set it up to say, I want to IPL everybody in this complex. And it will go through and it will shut down one, bring it back up, go to the next one, and just keep going through that process. So, I mean, this is something that we have invested some time in. There's still some work that needs to get done from the customer side because every shop is unique and we can't code for every one of them, but there is kind of that base skeleton that will get you running through here and allow you to do this one button IPL by having these two products work together. All right. Okay. So those were kind of the main use cases. We said they were high level because both products are kind of the toolkit mentality. They allow you to do a lot of things. So I didn't want to drill into specifics in terms of naming a whole bunch of products and saying, okay, you can log into this and do this. The whole idea is you can log into things and get things done through Automation Point. There's very little products that would not allow for the interfaces that Automation Point has in order to log in. So at this point, I'm going to pause and see if there are any additional questions. I haven't seen any come through in a while, and then I will finish up if there aren't any questions. Give it a minute here for typing. Okay. Oh, there is one. Can you touch upon any solutions available if your ZOS system runs under ZVM? So I guess, Ryan, are you looking for solutions available for managing the ZVM environment? I'm going to assume that's what you're talking about there. So yes, AAP can log in. Yes, AAP can log into the ZVM and take action as if it's a user of ZVM. So what it can do is going to depend upon what access you have in ZVM defined to that guest, but it can log into it and it would be able to issue commands, scrape, logs, that kind of thing for you, just like a normal user would be able to. There is also a product called the Linux connector, which connects up to Ops MVS, which allows it to monitor what's going on the ZVM environment. So those are kind of the two main options when it comes to these two products. Let's see, for the IPL process, I do believe I would have to double check this. The commands that you can send through the HMC processing would also help you with the ZVM since they're defined to the HMC also. I would have to double check that. I'm not 100% familiar with that. I can get back to you on that one though, Ryan. So with Automation Point, you can log into your ZVM, do your monitoring there. I do believe we can handle the IPL process through all the HMC interfaces, but I will have to get back to you on that. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to put up the additional information here. So what these are links to the manuals, the product pages here. Each page, the community page for both Ops and Automation Point is shared, although they do have separate queues. If you go in and you look specifically at the Ops stuff, you're not going to see Automation Point. But if you just kind of go into the community, you will see them both. Both of these products, I will have a demo booth at CA World for. I will be able to demonstrate what's going on and kind of run through any scenarios that you want if you will be there. Additionally, Ops MVS has 6 sessions that we will be doing. 4 of them are what's called pre-conference education, so they will be in-depth training sessions that will go through a setup and procedures on things, and then we have two actual CA World sessions. But most of my time will be spent at the booths, answering questions, going through whatever technical demos that you guys want there. And additionally, if you have any additional questions about anything or would like to talk further about this topic or get additional information to get more into the technical side of it, please feel free to reach out to me, and I can make sure we get the right people on the phone and get that all set up for you. Here's my email information and my various contacts. I will wait for any additional questions at this point, but that is all that I had to present. Thank you for joining. If anybody has any additional questions, please feel free to put them out here, and I will answer them for you.
Thanks, Michael. I'm not seeing any questions right now, but I suppose we'll wait a few if anybody has anything to send in. Again, this presentation is being recorded, so if you do want to watch the replay, that'll be on the community probably by the end of the business day.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
And thanks for joining. Have a good day, everyone.